got you under my skin. I've got you deep in the heart of me, so deep in my heart that you're really a part of me. I've got you under my skin. I tried so not to give in.
Hello, everybody. My name is Michael Harrell, and I'm sort of the founder of the Language Lessons of the Heart um, healing modality, healing and evolving, because healing and evolving are the same thing. And this is the four processes that I teach: talking to the parts of self, the empowerment process, judgment and denial release process, and emotional release process. Each one of these processes work on different aspects of yourself to work on your conscious energy. And we're energy beings, and all of our benefits and all of our ills or troubles and strife is actually energy that is recorded in us. And how do you edit it? How do you release it? How do you transform it? So because it's everything is because you're an energy being and everything is energy, then everything can be healed, because just like every single guitar that's ever made can go out of tune, and they can also be put back in tune. And this is really all that we're doing, except it's a little bit more sophisticated because our instrument, which is our body and our consciousness and our emotions and all that, are very sophisticated instrument. But it's actually pretty simple when you break it down. So as you're a new person and you're just coming to this, you want to try to figure out what's this all about. I have at the end of the all four videos that I talk about each of these processes, I have what you have gained. So this video is going to be primarily just to show what you can gain from doing the process work, from watching the videos, do the work and getting results. Can you gain? And I think we should just jump right into it right now, because I don't want to make this a super long video. Just talking about what you gain is like a big deal. So um, let's share a screen, and we're going to go right here to um, talking to the parts of self. This is the first process, talking to your parts of self. It could be the last process. It doesn't matter what order you do the processes in. You can do them all in every day. Um, you don't have to like learn talking the parts of self and then stop and then learn the next one and learn the next one. So you can just sort of watch the videos and then pick the ones you need. Some people may need to do emotion release right away, and they have a lot of stuff inside that needs to be released, and they can just learn how to do that first. But basically, talking to the parts of self is pretty core, because everything hinges around the energy inside you. You have your spirit, heart, will, and body energy, and each one of them can be affected a different way. You can have your heart going one way, and your spirit going the other way, and your belly going another way, and your body going like what? So you get all those guys in alignment, you have a lot more power and a lot more congruence. So just by talking to the parts of self, after you've done all this, you've learned it, right? And you practice it, you increase your self-love by 400%. And that's a really big deal, because we usually love something outside of ourselves, and we don't have a way to like recognize ourselves as, like we don't usually think of, I want to love my hand. And yet a lot of people say, I hate my hand. So increasing your self-love by 400% is really a big deal. As you know, makes plants grow better and imprints water. So uh, then just talking to the parts of self, you can ask them for help with the decision making, right? So you make much better decisions, and by looking at everything from each point of view, And then when you and your parts of self are on the same page, you're in alignment. And then saying and doing what you're feeling makes you congruent. Talking to your parts of self and your 16 trillion cells creates a new identity. Instead of being a singular having a singular personality disorder, which is what most people have, a singular personality disorder. You now have these 5 personalities. You as the one who's moderating all this, and your spirit, heart, will, and body. And the body has 61 trillion cells. And now you've got a whole team, right? There's your team, and your ability to love yourself and communicate with yourself and meet the needs of yourself just goes up by 400%. You gain 4 times the intelligence when when you're solving problems or issues. This is a big deal, because a lot of our issues, problems come from just jumping into this or that, new relationships, new businesses, new partnerships, or whatever. Okay, the first step to sovereignty is to populate your inner kingdom and defend them. We live in a predatory society, and everybody seems to be like they're out to get you, to get something from you. They want to sell you something or make you do something. But to be the defender of your inner kingdom makes you kind of in the role of ruler and leader, or God of your inner kingdom, and that's a different identity. Okay, you've gone a long and powerful way to making your subconscious conscious, and this is a big deal because you can find out what your heart needs, find out what your inner child, your belly needs, and fulfill those needs for them. So that's like making your subconscious conscious. What's bothering them? What's holding them back? And that's what's holding you back. Okay, with work and time, you have a much more healthy body and emotions, and this can be as much as 10 to 20 healthy years added to your life. This is no joke. This is from the CDC. Undischarged traumatic stress depending on the severity of your childhood issues, it can be between 10 and 20 years of valuable life that you can add to if once you resolve them. Okay, this process is the core of channeling, talking to your inner parts of self, and that's what you're kind of doing. You're kind of asking questions, and you're feeling for a response that's somewhere different than your brain, or that's connected to your brain in a different way. So that's it, and you're also connected to the higher self. So you'll always know who you're channeling. You're not channeling some, mystic master somewhere, which you don't really know. You channel yourself. So, let's see if I can get. Oh, I'll go that one, and then the next one is the empowerment process. The empowerment process is a really big deal. Even though it seems sophomoric and moronic and whatever to be saying this thing over and over and over again, the way you do it, by choosing your archetypes, by choosing a different emotion, and then choosing a different target, like an audience. This system of choosing, right? You don't have a choice until you install a choice, right? Uh, but from doing this, once you learn this process and you do it 10,000 times, which is 100 times a day for 3 months, you can create a near immaculate intent to heal. That means by the time you're done, anything that's coming at you in the world will not wound you. You can always turn it around to something that's healing and evolving instead. And you've populated your intentionality with many people who are helping you. And intentionality, which I go into that in some of the videos, is a huge deal, because every decision you make, your intent, right, to make a decision is modified by the beings who are holding you back or told you no. And we've been told no thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of times. So your intentionality is your ability to choose, and you can't choose unless you got your intentionality stacked in your favor, which is archetypes. Okay, this is also a part of the law of attraction. By choosing an archetype and then choosing the emotion and then choosing the target, this is actually the law of attraction. You're attracting to you uh, sort of like a whole plethora, a whole, stadium full of beings and intentions that are in your favor and for you instead of against you. So the law of attraction, you're basically practicing the law of attraction 100 times a day. And instead of just like practicing one time, I want this new car, I want this new job, you're practicing it all a lot, right? Again, thousands of times, 10,000 times is a lot, 100 times a day for 3 months. Okay, all this stuff is, like I said, we're energy beings, and everything that happens to us is energy that sticks to us or that we can release. But all the energy of the events, the things that happen to our life, the interactions that we've had, this is all written in the Akashic records. And doing the empowerment process, you're actually writing into the Akashic records so that lifetime after lifetime, you will have this empowerment process there because you've done it. It's like music, people who are fourth or fifth generation music are genius. So you're going to come back with these abilities. Okay, you've changed the chemistry and the pathways of your mind, and it's expanded. This is a good thing. You have more choices. Uh, you've installed the choice of emotions and points of view. This is I can't. Uh, if you're not practiced at choosing emotions and points of view, then whenever something comes to you, it just hits you, and then you can't like deal with the trauma that's happening in your current time because you only have just a very small choices, which is to cry, upset, feel wounded, feel like a victim or whatever. And you're not any of those things exclusively. Okay, and any point in the past or the future, you will have a strong and loving intent to will. Bad things will happen in your life, but where they do not have to crush you, and you can just a lot of them you can just sidestep and let them go by. You have a choice of how much any event will hurt you or heal you. You've increased your range of consciousness, and this your increases your energy. If you have a lot of negative stuff going on inside of you, that drags your energy down. When you expand your consciousness, you expand your energy. Consciousness is the feeling of energy. So if you expend energy, you're going to expand your consciousness. That's the way it works. You're all well on your way to being a Chronos Lord, and a Chronos Lord is a Time Lord. You're going backwards and forwards in time, right? This is things that happen in the past, things that happen in the future, and you're going back and forwards in time. You don't think of it that way, but that's what you're doing, and that makes you a Time Lord. That's pretty cool. Um, you have empowered your spirit, heart, will, and body so they can heal you from your subconscious. And that's pretty cool. You gotta love making your subconscious conscious. And then the next one is the judgment and denial release. This is also where the rubber meets the road. Okay, so you've learned. Let's say this is what you gained, right? You now know the judgment and denial release process. For this world and the next, we need to develop spiritual presence, moral presence, emotional presence, and personal presence. Uh, but that's something else. Okay, the judgment and denial release. What have you gained? Going back to choice. Every judgment, the stuff that happened to you, you got told no 56,000 times, and it was all about your choices, right? And so you got installed inside of you somebody else's choices. Your parents were your authority, then your schools and teachers were your authority, your friends were the authority, the doctors were authority, the your boss is the authority. Everybody's the authority but you, and everybody's telling you who you are and what you need to be like and all that kind of stuff. Um, and in reality, you need to choose what's right for you. You are a good enough person. You are worthy. You are valuable. You are blah, 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 everything. Just a huge amount of negative stuff that we take in that we store in our energy body. So you have to install the ability to choose. You have no choice until you install a choice. And this is why I have this whole list of judgments and denials for you to go through and practice judgment and denial release so that each time you're choosing what you want and what you don't want. This is profoundly um, powerful. This is deep inner child work and is loaded with self-love and self-responsibility. You have to learn the law of repulsion: release, reject, evict, eject, right? Reject what you don't want. And then you replace it with 6 things that you do want. And then over time, you build up this huge amount of things that are you can have confidence in and rely on knee jerk with what you do want and who you are. You are good enough. You're a good enough cook, car driver, you can read good or whatever. So like with the empowerment process, you've stacked your intentionality with beings that you support you. You get rid of the sabotage and the self-hatred, and you bring in self-love and self-empowerment. And this is really profound. And you've trained your spirit, heart, will, and body how to self-talk in a positive way and how to heal you. Once you're actually teaching this whole language lesson, you're teaching your subconscious, your spirit, heart, will, and body how you want them to, what you want them to carry and what do you want them to react to. So they can take over this process on a very positive level, even after you stop doing language lessons of the heart. Okay, you're seeing the value of self-investigation or self-archaeology to remove all denials in your life. This is a big deal. You don't want anything denied. You don't want your love denied. You don't want your dreams denied. You don't want your power denied. You don't want your memories from past lives and all that other stuff. You don't want your powers denied. All this stuff is what happens. So you get rid of as much denial and judgments as you can by releasing what you don't want or need. That is opposed to you. This is the law of attraction and the law of repulsion. You repulse what you don't want, and you bring in the law of attraction of what you do want. People think law of attraction is simple, but this is when you start getting into the emotional level, it's much more complicated and needs practice. Again, just like an instrument, you need to learn your guitar, you need to learn your instrument, you need to learn how it plays and the notes are the feelings. And right, by releasing the words, the denial, release, judgment, and the past, change your energy now. So you change what happened to you and print it in your past, and you change your energy now and in the future. And again, this makes you a Cronus Lord and a Time Lord that has come to defend your inner world. All that is found and released is now written in your Akashi, the book of life, and will impact you in your next few lifetimes. The skill of editing your own book of life is spiritually priceless. You can actually live um, you can actually live consciously knowing that whatever you feel, think, feel, say, or do is being written in your Akashic record, and that goes with you, is imprinted into your soul, and goes with you lifetime after lifetime. So you're basically clearing house now in this lifetime, so you'll have a much better leg up on the next lifetime. And because this is an eternal evolving process. So the last one is, which is pretty much a major one, They're all major. Any one of these processes, when you learn them, can transform your life in a profound way. Emotional release and what have you gained? This is just what you have gained. And this is at the end of every video. I have this page of what you can, what you have gained by doing it. You watch the videos, you do the work, and you get results. So with emotional release, you've become sovereign in your own inner kingdom, guarding your borders and fighting invaders and energy parasites inside you. That's the thing about adversity is sticky, and it sticks inside you and creates a reality that you don't want. Okay, the end of pain of your spirit, heart, will, and body. This is a radical acceptance and profound compassion. You cannot leave parts of yourself wounded back in time. It's like a trail of blood that goes back to your birth. You don't want that. You want to be able to heal each part of the stuff that happened in the past. And this is compassion, self-compassion. It goes back to what I talked about self-love. When you increase your self-love by 400%, you also increase your self-compassion and self-protection. Okay, and by doing emotional release work, you have explored and expanded your heart and found the end of fear and the right use of rage. This thing about the heart, right? Our heart, we have this thing where, like, when I love my kitty, I love my mom, love my husband or wife, I love my kids, right? That's kind of like the normal band. But when you go out into fear, I fear for the safety, or I fear for myself, right? And you expand out into the fear, you expand your heart. When you get into your rage and anger, rage, and then into blind rage, gapped rage, you you know you expand your heart more. When you expand, you don't think of that rage and fear and to terror are part of love, but they are. So you actually expand your heart in a much higher vibration, much bigger vibration. Um, all mental and emotional physical illness has undischarged traumatic stress as the number one factor. And you have learned how to express and discharge these emotions and discharging your pain. Expect mental, emotional, and physical health and extended your life by 10 to 20 years. Again, this is from the CDC with their ACEs study, which was a big study, and it's a good paper. Okay, you've gone a long way towards ending your family's generational trauma. When you end your trauma and you break all those connections between you and your abusers, you're ending their trauma too. And you kind of, this is how you break um, generational trauma. You can't do it by forgiveness. You have to do it with fear and rage to cut what has been attached to you, cut those bonds, cut those ties, and make that so that energy is dead, is finished, is over. And then you can reduce, for doing this, you can reduce your load of guilt, shame, and blame to near zero. And that's a big deal because we're all carrying around a huge amount of shame and blame and guilt, and that's just a hot mess. And you don't need any of that stuff because none of it was yours. It was done to you. It's not intrinsic to you. Okay, you have a great working knowledge of the law of attraction and the law of repulsion, and these are what manifest a high quality of life. If the law of attraction is not working for you, then you need to do some law of repulsion, because the law of repulsion is to repel the things that are holding you back or things that have hurt you, things that made you timid and afraid. And then when you are no longer split, hidden, or divided inside, this makes you congruent and authentic. Part two: emotional release and what have you gained? With suppression of past emotions, you also suppress your abilities and powers. Now, with the radical expression, expect your powers and abilities to be more available, like past life memories and various psychic abilities, deeper connection to the parts of God. When I did this work, and I did it pretty deep, and I used to teach it, I actually regained my memory all the way back to the beginning of creation, and I watched God emerge out of the divine will, and then I saw the whole first creation and the second creation, the creation of the Godhead, all the way down to um, watching the earth cool down in preparation for all the manifested spirits. This is the kind of stuff that you can work on once you release all your pain and all your fear and all that kind of stuff. Your memories come back of other lifetimes and of our celestial origins. Doing the work for 3 months, just 3 months, right? Once a week, you move. This is emotional release work. You move from victim mode to a clear and celebrated victory 48 times. To when you can say, I've defeated this guy, I've defeated this person, the bullies in my life, and you have a victory 48 times. This is really profound. We thrive victory, and when we are defeated, it really hurts. This is a big deal to have a proven history of gigantic victories over demons, dragons, lower lords, infected ancestors, destroyed worlds of pain. You're a destroyer of worlds and a God killer. So we're actually equal to God in all ways. So that's pretty cool. Doing this work is shadow work, inner child work, plus spiritual and shamanic healing. That's profound. Just, just do the work and you'll see. Consciousness is a feeling of energy, and you've increased your feelings of all your energy and expanded your consciousness. This is how it works. If people want to talk about raising your vibration, this is how you do it. You get rid of all the stuff that's bringing your vibration down, and then your vibration rises. Okay, when you lose control in private, you gain control in public. This is a big deal. There's people who are always timid or always afraid, and then they're in public, they're always afraid. And then there's people in public who are always angry and regularly snap at you or being bullies or something like that. That's because they're not controlling their emotions well in private. When you expand and express all of your emotional energy in private, then you have a modem of control in public. You don't have to, because you've experienced these gigantic emotions. The little things that come up at work or in your family, they're just not, they don't trigger you anymore. Okay, the inner peace is not a myth. You've reduced your inner stress and turmoil, and peace is your natural state. It's much easier to be in emotional equilibrium if you don't have all this charge and discharge going on. So peace, just to be a peaceful, normal person is kind of a big deal. So all of what you've done with Language Lessons of the Heart is in the Book of Life and will affect you positively for many lifetimes to come. Okay, that's I can't cover all of it because consciousness is like an infinite thing. And some people get more results, some people get less results. But just to give you an idea, these are the things you can gain from doing it. We're still kind of in an ancient history where they say, "Oh, people don't change. It's too hard to change. Nobody ever changes." Well, that's a complete lie. We change every minute. We change all the time. Every time we learn something new, at one time we had a phone on a wall. Now we got a little phone in our pocket. Things change, we change, the environment change, everything changes, and we're part of that change. So the myth of nobody changes or it's hard and difficult to change. It's not hard and not difficult to change. You're changing all the time. So when you make up enough, you have enough energy to say, I want to try this, I want to do this. I really want to have a strong intent to heal. I want to th- it's possible to do it. That's what I'm saying. It's possible to do it. And here's one other thing I want to add. Like I used to do yoga, Kriya yoga. I had a great master, and he taught me how to do it. And after like many years, I did for 13 years. I reached God realization, right? I reached God realization, and then I had to do my emotional healing work because they're not the same. So let me tell you right off the bat, reaching God realization where you can see God and you've been connect with God, right? You can see God, and then unity consciousness and full blown Kundalini and the near death experience. All these things do not transform your house, your inner house. You have to do it, and it's a pity really that people will have a near-death experience and then they have to come back and do their healing work. And they do, because they can't live with the divine sitting next to this house full of garbage. It's the same thing with a unity consciousness. You can have this unity consciousness all you want, but you still got to take care of your kids and you know, and live your life according to, if you without trauma and drama inside you. So this is not a spiritual practice. This is a clearing and an evolving of your consciousness, and it has nothing to do with um, it's an equal uh, gives the equal quality to your life to things like a near-death experience or having unity consciousness, feeling like you know, you're all one, and and enlightenment or full-blown kundalini. This is equal to or enhance all those things, because you can still, there's a lot of people who are really spiritually high and the world's still pretty messed up. You have to do the healing work to do it. There's also, if you look into it, this type of emotional release where you kill demons, it's through all the religions. You can't really live in this world as a spiritual person if if uh, if the world's all messed up. So congratulations if you're contemplating doing this work, and it's relatively easy to do. Just takes time and determination. It's like give yourself between 3 months and 3 years, like less time in than it takes in high school, and you can do it part time. It depends on your needs. If you have a lot of wounding, you might have to do a lot of more work, but still, results can happen. Watch the videos, um, do the work, and get your results. So, my blessings to everyone. Thank you.